I'm a performer on a cruise ship, and one of the most common questions that I get asked is how much money do I spend whilst living on board? And to be totally transparent, I haven't been able to give a definitive answer because it varies every single week. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how much money I spend on average for the entire week living and working on a cruise ship. Let's go! Make sure you stick around till the end of the video, because once you see how much money I actually spend on a week-to-week basis, you're going to be as shocked as I was. Let's start off with the first purchase of the week. After dragging myself out of bed, I walk half asleep to the back of the ship to get my morning coffee. And this sets me back a whopping $2.50. I'm currently sat on the back deck area, and this is the location where the crew come to chill out when they're not working. I find myself here every single morning because I love to start my day with a caramel iced latte.
Yes, queen.
And the sound of the ocean in the background. But before we get onto the other expenses, I should really get into the things that I'm actually not paying for. For crew members, we get our accommodation for free. And granted, this place is very small and you are sharing the room with one other crew member, but at the end of the day, it's easy living and I don't have to stress about paying rent, bills, or even a mortgage whilst I'm here. Plus, I don't pay a single cent for electricity or water on board. So yes, that means I can take that extra long shower and I won't receive a single bill whilst I'm singing the new Bieber album. The next ship freebie is the food. The crew and staff mess provide us with various choices for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and whilst it's not exactly Michelin starred, hey, it's free, it's hot, and there's always dessert. Another place where I'm saving money is having access to 3 gyms on board. The crew have 2 gyms available 24 hours a day hidden away in our quarters, and being a performer, I'm also allowed to go up and train in the guest gym. Being a performer on a ship is demanding, and I always have to be taking care of myself physically, so it's a nice perk not having to pay for a gym membership. But unfortunately, that is where the freebies do come to an end. But honestly, having these little perks help the crew out so much and it makes it a lot more comfortable than people think. Now let's move on to the second expense of working on a cruise ship. Let's start with turnaround day. The first day of the cruise is a bit of a reset for everyone welcoming new guests, fresh energy, and for me, I take this opportunity to find a nearby store and grab the essentials that I can't find on board. These essentials can vary from snacks to toiletries, washing tablets, and anything else that makes life on board a little more comfortable. And I tend to do this once a week, and it costs me around $30. Another expense at the beginning of the week is getting my hair done. Now, being a performer with thousands of guests watching you every single week, and being up close interacting with them, Royal Caribbean expects all their crew members to stay clean cut and presentable at all times during their contract. And whilst most of the ships do in fact have a hair salon on board, to be honest, they are actually quite expensive. And it's not something you would want to pay for every week to stay looking sexy. So here's what I do. This is one of the fun little crew secrets. Below deck, we've got our own little network of barbers on board. Most of them actually work as barbers back at home, so they set up their own little crew salons here on the ship. It's super chill and sometimes they'll cut your hair in their own cabins or by the crew bar so you can have a drink whilst you get your hair cut. And to be honest, it's super convenient and for the price of $10 I'm able to feel good and I can afford to get my hair done every single week. So that's a result. Alright, so now you've seen all the little bit of money that goes out here and there during the week of working on a cruise ship, but unfortunately, this is where we take a turn for the worst. At this point, now we're going to move on to the things that actually cost quite a lot of money on ships. So let's break it down. At the time of making this video, it costs roughly around $3.99 for Wi-Fi on board, and I use it a hell of a lot. It's $3.99 for an hour, and I roughly use about 20 hours a week. So what is that? Oh my God, what is $3.99 times 20? 80. There we go. It's $80 thereabouts. Unfortunately, it is expensive and $80 a week is quite a lot of money for Wi-Fi, but you know, I have to deal with it because I want to grow this and it means a lot to me to grow a YouTube channel for you guys and make as many good videos as possible. So it's an expense that I have to deal with. So it is what it is. Another big expense of working on ships is actually when you get off the ship. Visiting all these beautiful places and planning trips with your friends make it much more enjoyable and easier being away from your loved ones for long periods of time. But it doesn't come without a cost. I've been on Explore of the Seas close to a year at this point. I've travelled around Europe and also spent 6 months in the Caribbean. And with trips, excursions, night outs, and enjoying all the places I've visited, it definitely doesn't come cheap. I'm currently at a resort in Santorini, which is fantastic, and as you can see, it's beautiful, I paid $25 to get in, and then it was €3 for the drink. I'm currently disappearing on the camera, so I apologize. I'll be back in a second. Like I was saying, you pay $25 to get into a beautiful resort, and the drinks are always cheap when you're in Europe, so it's a massive blessing. And honestly, I could be paying worse when I'm at home. I'm not paying for fuel in my car at home. I'm not paying for insurance. I don't have no mortgage. I have no bills, really. As you can see, it's peaceful and no one's here, so I got the whole place to myself. And honestly, I think that's worth its money. Come on, come on. Come on. No, I'm not getting nowhere. Just gonna have to enjoy the ride. So with that said, let's go on to the next expense. Cheers. The next expense is again the food. But this time, it's off the ship. Whilst you're exploring all these beautiful places, there's always a new restaurant to be tried. And granted, you don't have to always eat off the ship, and you would definitely be saving more money in that regard. But for me, I see it as this. When are you going to get these opportunities to have all the amazing foods and experiences from all over the globe? It's always nice to try something interesting in a new place, because as much as the ship food is free, it's kind of repetitive. You quickly become bored from just eating ship food. And considering we have 5 days in port and 2 days at sea, having lunch and sometimes dinner in each port, I would estimate that I spend around $150 a week just on food off the ship. But honestly, with being in beautiful ports, having good quality food, and the pleasure that we all have together, it's worth every penny. As well as food off the ship, me and Ellie like to grab little snacks for the week in our slop chest, which is located at the back of the ship. It's a little convenience store for the crew members, and whilst they have a lot of stuff inside, honestly, we get most of our stuff on land and save the slop chest just for our snacks and goodies. And this costs around $20 a week. Another expense to consider as well is that whilst you're off the ship, you don't stay connected to the ship's Wi-Fi. And whilst I've got a SIM card from home that gives me data, it's not always guaranteed it will connect in each port. So the way I combat this is by using an app that provides eSIMs in different regions and gives me the unlimited data for just $20 a month. So let's just say it's a $5 for the week to stay connected. And lastly, we probably move on to the most expensive part of working on a cruise ship, which is unfortunately the alcohol. Now granted, if I'd made this video 2 years ago, then this expense would have been a lot more expensive for me, but coming close to 30, I'm starting to chill out a lot more, so I don't drink as much. But don't get me wrong, a few years ago, I would have drunk and drunk and drunk, which I guess is normal for a 20-year-old, but at the same time, it gets very expensive. So for crew members, when they buy their alcohol, we usually get it from back deck, and of course, it's crew prices, so it's like $2.50 for a beer, or like maybe $4 for a cocktail or something like that. So it's not crazy expensive compared to guest prices, of course, but it just depends on how much you drink, really, I guess. Plus, you also have to factor in that when you're in all these different ports, which especially I like to do, is you go to all these new ports and you want to try the local beer there, which I'm a massive fan of. I do love beer and I love craft beer, so anytime I get off in Santorini or Athens or anywhere special, I like to try the local beer and just, you know, get a taste for it and see how I like it. So that's something that I have to factor in. Honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this because this number sounds crazy to me, but I would roughly estimate that I'm probably spending about $75 a week just on beer. I mean, at the end of the day, the experiences that I'm having, I'm not just sat there drinking on my own like a loner. I'm trying nice things in new places, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm happy I'm spending that money. And with that being said, guys, I think it's going to bring us to the end of the video, and unfortunately this is the make or break part where I have to calculate it up and see how much money I've been spending. So let's just run the numbers. Oh my god. Well, I wasn't expecting it to be this much, that's for sure, so yikes. I think what we should do is we should do a drum roll. So whilst being a figure skater on a cruise ship, traveling around Europe and the Bahamas, doing beautiful things, spending time with amazing people, trying great food and drinking beer here and there, I roughly spend on a weekly basis $400.50. Oh. In a way, I'm not sad about it because it's the experiences that I've been having, and when I think about it, I've had such a good time on this cruise ship. I've traveled to Europe, I've been around the Caribbean, and honestly, even though it hurts seeing that, at the end of the day, it's all about the experience, and honestly, that's worth every penny in my opinion.
I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was quite an interesting one for me, and as you can see from that amount of money, I'm probably going to cut back on a few things. I'm going to be drinking water from now on every time I go out. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button. I'm just a small channel that's trying to grow out, so please help me get my video to as many people as possible. You can do that by pressing the like button, and you can leave a comment, you can share it, you can do whatever you want. Just yeah, if you could support the channel, that would mean the world to me. And I'm probably going to go cry now in the room about how much money I'm spending. So with that being said, hope you guys take care, and I will see you in the next video. So, peace. Actually, whilst I'm here in this beautiful resort, I should do an Aston haul. Thank you.